Welcome back to our second count, and I am over. I don't know what the hill, the bridge, I'm over the moon,
A little bit of both.
something, to bring in a
Definitely over the
very
hill.
well. Hey, Daniel, you sit in that truck and drive it, son of a bitch. Um, I am ecstatic though to bring in a guy I've known for a long, long time. I thought about it just yesterday. How long? But a very, very well known guy in the industry. Just had a documentary out on him. It is David Herro, who I call Dave. Dave, welcome to the show, buddy. We are so ecstatic to have you on, and we can't thank you enough for your time.
I am very happy to be here. All you guys have been great to myself and to Cal over the years, and just honored to be a part of the team.
So, Dave, real quick before we get into things, let me ask you a question. Do you remember
Yeah.
when I first met you? Because I thought about this. If
It was
you
in
said-
Orlando.
No,
No?
no. And now I am head battered for many years, but
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out to you and see if you remember, because
Mhm.
I remember the building. All right, so I met you when my dad and Dave were told they were getting fired, and I was on the golf course, and I came back because we had a day off and we had a house show. You were Al's, I don't know, friend and
Yeah.
welcome guest, and we were in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that downstairs area.
Mm-hmm.
And I met you there. We had that little catering table in that big open room.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Vaguely familiar, but yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's where I met you. I know that. Now, if I'm
Mhm.
wrong with location, I
No.
apologize, but I remember it.
I think we had a few more drinks together though in Orlando.
Oh, before that.
No. I'm saying it was probably after that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's for sure.
And Dave, I just obviously just spent the weekend with you, although I better be careful. That's how rumors start. But
Yeah.
just obviously a great time at Pressure Fest. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that. But all the different shows you do throughout the years, it's pretty amazing to see what the Milwaukee area, how much they love wrestling and what happens there. It's pretty cool to see in person, but then from afar sometimes when I'm not able to be there and just see all the pictures and videos. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I am very blessed that Milwaukee is such a great wrestling community. It's not even a town or a city, it's really a community. And they love their wrestling, whether it be the AWA or the WWF or WWE or independent wrestling. They just can't get enough of it.
Jimmy's muted. He's trying to get in here, but sorry.
It's a Canadian internet.
Yeah, and I know. Somebody placed a tariff on my microphone. Yeah. So, no, like you said, it's a great community out in Milwaukee. When we used to travel there with WWE, I used to love going that part of the country. And you're running shows there for GLCW.
Yes. Yeah, it's been this is my 27th year.
Wow.
That is insane,
Wow.
man.
Yeah, it is insane. I don't know what I was thinking.
So, well, what kind of different challenges do you have now in 2025 that you had in the first few years that you obviously getting your footprint set is a challenge in itself, but what kind of different challenges do you have as far as booking talent, that kind of stuff? What has changed over the years?
The biggest problem right now booking talent are guys that I could get for $750, $500, maybe even $1,000 are now $5,000 to $7,500.
Wow.
You know, and
who do you attribute that problem to?
Wait, does that include refs?
No, does not include refs. Part of it's really a two-part answer. The first part is COVID. A lot of people got an extra stack of money in their bank accounts, and they're at home and they're in their basements and they find their collections. And then there's the virtual autograph appearances, where that was the first one, and I'll blame a bunch of the East Coast promoters for that, jacking the prices up. And then let's be honest, AEW, he was paying guys and girls that were not ready to be on TV ridiculous money to work, if maybe 4 times a month. you know, in
Right.
guaranteed contracts. So I, maybe hunger is the wrong word, but there's no incentive for them to go on the road when they have a guaranteed paycheck for big money. Why bother doing the indies? Now you're a quote unquote TV star. So
Right.
I get it, but I don't get it because, you know, you only get better when you get your reps in.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people that aren't getting the reps in, and it shows.
So I have a question
So-
for you, Dave.
Yeah.
I want you to think that you're a wrestler right now. Right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong answer. I know the right answer, or I think I do. But anyway,
For you, at least, anyway.
yes. So you're an indie star. You're an indie star, and you're getting looks by AEW, TNA, WWE. In your opinion, do you go with the money, which would be AEW, or do you go with the machine in WWE, or do you say, let me take that mediocre money between the two and go to TNA, craft my skills even more to make myself more valuable? What way would you recommend maybe somebody that you're a mentor to?
Well, I mean, it comes down to this. Do you want to make a lot of money, be frustrated, creative, you know, with your creative, or do you want to try to build a career and then have a legacy? If you want to cash in, go to Jacksonville, go to AEW, and you'll be and you know, it's by watching the show, you know, there's a shiny new toy. It lasts 4 to 6 weeks, and then there's somebody else. If if you want to have a career where there's brand recognition, you want to go to WWE, you know, through NXT. But if you're in between the two of them, your best option is to go to TNA because you're going to work with some amazing people, and they're married to NXT for the next 2.5 to 3 years. So if WWE is where you want to go, NXT is watching TNA every week.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, you know, it really depends on what you want to get out of this. And I think what has changed the most since I started in this is there are more athletes in NXT and WWE than there are independent wrestlers. You know, you're getting the guys and girls that were the track and field stars, the power lifters, the bodybuilders, the football players, you know, the gymnasts that an injury or whatever else, or there was no money in whatever they were going into, and NXT came by and grabbed them. So now, for a while, it pushed out the independent wrestlers to where they felt, well, hey, we should probably go to TNA or AEW, and hopefully we get on Dark when AEW had that show. So I think that's also part of the problem is you got to see where you fit in as well. It's never been so easy to get into pro wrestling than it has been the past 5 years, I believe.
Now, off that point, do you think now that WWE has this ID program in place, do you think that's helping rectify that problem they had where they were signing all these NIL talents?
I don't know, because after the big splash of the ID talents, you don't hear anything about them anymore.
You don't. You're right.
True.
I mean,
True.
I'll be honest. I don't know if I can name more than 2. You know, I believe it was the one girl out of Chicago, Kylie Ray.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
And honestly, I think for me, and there's a kid named Cartwheel, and I just know because of the name Cartwheel. I don't know who these other ID kids are, and I'm calling them kids because I'm 53. Yeah. It's not in a negative way.
There's another girl, the blonde. I forget her name now. But she's I guess it's not really important. I forgot it. But she's the only name I can think of that, like, in my mind. That's it. But you're right. There's not many. The rest of the ID kids, I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a great concept. It's a great way for kids on the indies to have another logo next to their name on the poster, and they can increase their payday a little bit more. You know, so that's fantastic. And you know what? Who doesn't want to have that WWE ID logo next to their name? Sure. I mean, anyone that says they don't, they're kidding themselves, because it's a great way to get some more clout.
And a little more money, even $100.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned, Dave, that you've been doing this for quite some time. Now, have you had a chance to just to kind of look back at it and be like, okay, I would have done this that way, or I really wouldn't have ran that show at that place. Or you just basically, all things are pointed forward for you.
Well, I mean, there's certain things that I've learned my lessons on. I'll never run anything on a Mother's Day weekend. That's a disaster. And up here in Wisconsin, I make sure I don't do anything when it's deer hunting season. But
Yeah.
but
Oh,
for me,
you're Dave. You're one of those rednecks, huh?
well, no, I don't hunt. I'll go fishing, but I'm not going to go outside when it's 20 degrees and try to find a deer.
At 5 in the morning.
My butcher shop has tremendous meats. You know what I mean? And then for me, the other thing I don't do, and I learned this, is the only shows I run in the summertime are bought shows. Because in Wisconsin, we get maybe 4.5 months of good weather, and people do not want to go indoors in the summertime. So it's usually like firemen's picnics and festival shows that I do in the summertime. But other than that, like there's other local independent promoters. And when I pick my dates, honestly, I do not care who's running when, because for me, I'm about 35 minutes outside of Milwaukee. I'm in my own little island. And, if someone complains that I run against them, I don't look at the calendar, just do a better show than me is all I say, So, and that's how I look at it. I mean, I've already done shows on a Saturday, and then Monday Night Raw is announced a month and a half later after I've already sold tickets. I did a Saturday show, and then I had Monday Night Raw. Thankfully, we still drew about 700 people in this one building. But I mean, what people have to realize is, like, in a city of Milwaukee, there's over 1 million some people. There's plenty of wrestling fans.
Right.
So it's not like I'm only trying to get, part of, 1,500 or 2,000 people, to come to a show. But yeah, no, I've learned a lot of lessons over the years. And most of it, it was just basic stuff that I didn't know, about, certain weekends to run, not to run, talent taking advantage of your kindness, that kind of stuff. So, plenty of time for me.
I'm waiting.
Gotcha.
I'm waiting for the clickbait and all the on all the sheets now that says Dave Herro claims that WWE is counter programming GLCW.
Not at all. I will say I do. Sometimes I get nervous when they get close, but I've been very blessed. I've dodged quite a few bullets over the years with them.
I do have to ask you though, because you did say sorry, Brian, because you have been promoting for so long, and we all know how social media has taken over the wrestling community. Everybody's on there and expressing an opinion. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But how has it changed the way you promote your shows, though? It must be a completely different animal.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I no longer do radio advertising. A newspaper is now non-existent. For me, the majority of my advertising is a Facebook ad. Otherwise, OVW airs in Milwaukee, and I'll take out spots on that because that's my hardcore audience, and I have 70% of my roster is OVW kids. So if they're watching OVW, they're going to want to see it that way. I hardly do anything on Twitter anymore. I used to love Twitter, but that is so toxic. It got to the point where I was entertaining myself by arguing with people and just trying to make them look dumb. But I'm just like, God, it just never ends.
That's easy. That's easy to do, to make them look
Yeah,
dumb.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, Al Snow and I, we were talking about this because, Al's gonna be 62. I'm gonna be 53. And I'm like, we might have a good 20 to 25 years left. Why are we wasting our time on idiots? Yeah. So for me, it's like we're more aware of who we want to argue with or mess with, whatever. But for me, I have a great fan base here in Milwaukee. The way my website is set up is if you buy a ticket to my show, your email address is automatically stored. And whenever I post, I have a show coming up, everybody that's bought a ticket in the last 7 years gets an email letting them know when the next show is. So, and then with Facebook ads, I can direct market exactly who I want. But as far as Twitter goes, not so much. But radio, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm in my car, I'm either listening to a podcast or XM radio. I don't listen to local unless it's local sports. So,
I'm the
and
same.
TV people, yeah, and now people, the way they consume their TV is they DVR it or they watch it. They try to fast forward all the commercials. So why bother having a TV spot that no one's going to watch?
That makes so much sense.
True.
Dave,
Yeah.
we're doing our show backwards, by the way, just so you know, accidentally, because you're so knowledgeable and exciting to talk to about wrestling. But I want you to know, in our third count, you know, when that comes up, we're gonna talk about your documentary. Okay, I want you to know that.
Sounds good. Absolutely.
Okay, so we can continue to peck your brain, right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cool. You know, Cal was on. I don't know how many weeks ago. RJ could probably figure that out. 3, 4, whatever. What a great dude, man. I already knew that. And I was excited to show the world how sweet and just how like he is so enriched in wrestling. When do you think he'll get his break, buddy? What do you think? What do you think?
You know,
or what do you think it'll take for him to get his break? Because it's not that he's not likable. It's not that he's not got a. When he was on the show, did you listen to the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Of course you did. You were ready to freaking kill one of us. But anyway, no, but I think the gimmick needs to change in a way, right?
Right. Oh yeah, he's no longer the fanny pack kid.
So did he get that? Did he get the burn the bag or anything? Like, did he?
What it was is, I want to say last summer he was in a match. His opponent Tony Gunn took it off of him, and that's been it. Hasn't, you know, he's on OVW TV. He's a little more gritty. You know,
okay.
He kind of went. The best way to describe it is he went from being John Cena to a little more Stone Cold. You know,
wow.
He's not drinking beer, but he's more aggressive.
Well, I can teach him that part of it.
You know, and what's cool is some promoters, when he was no longer the fanny pack kid, they reached out and said, "Hey, can you still be the fanny pack kid for us?"
He told us that.
Yeah. And I go, you got to give the promoter whatever they want. Like, he has 2 different theme songs, you know, and he still wears the fanny pack. Like, he's going to be down in Mobile, Alabama on Friday for Diamond Championship Wrestling and Scott Armstrong, and they want the fanny pack kid. So, okay, that's who you're going to get, you know. But like, for me, when he comes up here, it's up to him. It's like, hey, whatever you're feeling. But they know you now as just Cal Hero. And Al will never let that fanny pack come back on TV again for OVW. So,
do you think he could be a heel?
Absolutely.
Really?
I have watched him in Doug Basham's camp, where he has to be the heel, and I was like, "Damn, kid, that was almost too easy," you know.
So he embraces that. You think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dave, he needs to take that fanny pack and do the gimmick and get everybody all hype. And take that bitch off and put it in flames.
So I agree, but let me tell you something.
Okay.
In the last 3 years, he has sold over 600 fanny packs. Okay, at $25 a fanny pack.
Damn.
Okay.
Wow.
So for me, when Al said, "Hey, I want him to lose the fanny pack," I'm like, that's a big chunk of the income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what we did is when Al took that away, I said, "Hey, I'm going to get teddy bears made with the Cal Rules T-shirt on the teddy bears." And Al's like, "No one's going to buy those." He has a very young fan base and a lot of girls. And the first 3 weeks, he sold 200 teddy bears.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a merchandise machine. You know, he really is.
Jeez.
And it's fun to watch. You know, a lot of the kids at OVW, when Cal gets something first, usually 3 weeks later they're getting the same thing because it works.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, they do. They copy Cal's the leader on that, and they try to copy. So I will say this. There's about five, I can count on one hand, there's about five people in OVW that if I get told I'm in a match, hey, we're going to do a ref bump. I'm like, okay. And depending on what the ref bump is, if it's a squasher, I'll take that for almost anybody. But if you want to do something creative, there's only a few people that I will allow to work with at OVW to do a crazy bump. And Cal Hero's definitely on that shorthand list. And I've told him that. And here lately, the last couple of bumps I've took has been from Cal. And we're like, we're doing something creative. We're doing a crossbody at the top rope. We're doing, whatever it is. We're doing, we're doing they're gonna punch me, whatever it is, not a a corner squisher. So I will say that's how I trust Cal, is that I know for a fact he's going to protect me 100%. He's going to be light. He's going to make sure, and that goes back to him being trained under Al and being trained with Doug, but it just overall his skill level in the ring, he's that good. So I trust him with my life. I know other people do as well. So,
and that says a lot, because Dave, I've got a quick story, man, real quick. When I first got to TNA in my first time there, I was supposed to take a super kick from James Storm. I didn't know him from shit. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had just left the Fed. I knew who I could trust, just like Jimmy. Jimmy knew when he took a bump from Eddie or whoever, Kurt, Brock, whatever. We knew we were good. Sometimes. But I'm like, I am not taking a super kick and getting my teeth knocked out my first fucking week here. I'm like, there's no way. So I went to my dad and I was like, Dad, they want me to take a super kick from fucking James Storm. And James didn't know me either. So he's giving me that tough. You've met James. He's giving me that. Yes. He's giving me that tough cowboy gimmick,
Right.
Yeah, well, just hold your face this way. And yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, how do y'all do bumps around here? What is this shit? Now I got to figure out how to turn my face and how far and put your hand up just in time. Like, no. So anyway, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I go to my dad and I'm asking my dad, I'm like, look, I'm not asking him. I'm just saying, I'm telling him, actually. I'm like, you want to switch matches because we've worked with him. I'm not taking this shit right now. I can't do it. And he goes, no. He does not touch you. And I was like, how do I know that? He doesn't know me. He may not like me because I'm your son.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm telling you. I was like, well, can you at least like put a good word in? Like something? Yeah. He said, I'm not doing anything. I've never done that in your entire career. I'm not doing it. He goes, stop being a bitch. You're fine. I said, okay. I went and took it and he didn't do anything to me.
That's awesome.
I felt maybe the bottom like of his boot just on my chin, like, and I was like, I had to figure out how to sell it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, he hit me. I gotta fucking sell this. And but yeah, long story short, what he's saying, and I know but I'm saying I'm trying to put Cal over, is he will put his body on the line, be nervous as shit doing so, but knowing he's gonna take care of me. You know what I mean? A referee is in a vulnerable position a lot of times where you just have to give it up and let them do what they got to do. And I've been in some rotten ones that turned out so good with the likes of Big Show, Taker, Brock, Kurt. The list goes on and on. But I mean, like vulnerable positions, and it's just it's scary. And people don't realize that if you've never refereed a match and had to take a bump that was different and not a squisher, which I think they should get rid of forever.
No, because you need it for all the people that don't know how to do it. So don't know how to do good,
Well, learn it in training camp, just not on TV.
I'm just talking about the other people, like I mentioned in OVW. I want to take a squisher from you, absolutely. Not the super kick.
No. But I'm saying the squisher is just not. Please come up with something different. We've been watching it for 100 years. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to say that's what he's saying about Cal, which is a huge compliment that Daniel just gave him.
Yeah, it's great because Al will give me a call and he'll be like, well, somebody else called. They wanted to come back to OVW, and guess what they want to do? And the first thing they pitched to Al is they want to work with Cal.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So like guys from the past that want to come back. So it's very flattering. But then at the same time, we got to juggle that whole nepotism thing. You know what I mean?
Well, we talked about that too. We talked about that, Dave. We did.
Yeah.
You heard it. I mean, it's not easy being a kid of somebody that people know and it's been in the
Right.
business for a long time. It's not, because they judge you totally different until you move past just being Dave's son. You know what I mean?
Right. Or now one of the things is at OVW, you can't spell Cal without Al, you know? So
I see
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
And you
good
know
one.
what, for me, when people have asked me about it, they're like, oh, well, what do you think? I'm like, well, you can say whatever you want, but nepotism does not sell t-shirts
That's right.
or fanny packs.
That's correct.
So obviously he's doing something right.
This is your 3 count.
We're back here on Reffing It Up in our third count with our very special guest, Mr. Dave Herro. Dave, thank you so much for taking time out for us this evening. But in between our segments here, we're talking about somebody that, says he's always right, but he always asks your opinion. That's Al Snow, and he's been on the show a couple times, and he's one of those guys that, just a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, he is a treasure trove of knowledge. And, Al and I will have multiple conversations, and he'll ask me what I think, and I'll give him my opinion. And I know in my heart I'm right, but I'm still wrong. And, it's like he teaches me how wrong I am at times, but in the most, positive ways, I guess.
The one thing I found that it doesn't matter how many times you talk to Al, you always learn something new. It's just like you said, he's a treasure trove of knowledge, and I'm surprised that other organizations haven't tapped into his knowledge.
I've often wondered that too, and I'm thinking maybe they just think he's so busy and happy at OVW, they're not going to even bother asking him, But yeah, I mean, I help Al on the creative aspect of OVW. And, like for the past year and a half, I've been helping him with, writing TV. And it is so much more intricate than you could ever think. It's not just for that week. It's, okay, we got to do 6 weeks to build to this. And then you work backwards and forwards. And then you got to juggle people that can't make it. There's issues with travel or a flat tire or someone gets sick or their kids are sick. And you have to, the morning of, you're rewriting 4 or 5 segments of a show. And just like, man, it is a lot harder than I thought it was.
So as ridiculous as this question will be to people that are out there listening, you won't think it's ridiculous. But have you ever been so right about something where Al goes, Dave, you're right? How often has that ever happened? And what do you kind of say it was?
He won't say I'm right. He'll be like, oh, I'm not opposed. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah. I mean, but it could just be about anything, But we've never had that kind of a conversation where who's right and who's wrong. It's usually I'm wrong and he's right.
Yeah, that's about right. That sounds about right.
Okay, so but, basically, you're saying Al could never be.
No. And here's how I look at it. For me, I don't feel I'm ever wrong. I might be mistaken, but I'm not wrong. So
that's good. That's good.
Well, something that is definitely going to be very, very right and phenomenal without a question is your documentary that's coming out, The Hero's Journey, a pro wrestling story that basically takes you behind the curtain of the wrestling world and the life and legacy of yourself, man. And social media, we talked about being very toxic, being somewhat negative sometimes, but seeing the number of individuals that will say give you your flowers, and rightfully so. You've given a lot to this business, and I just can't wait to see this documentary that's coming out. Just briefly talk about it, man. Just absolutely phenomenal to see coming out.
Well, David Vox Mullen, who I've known for the last 5 or 6 years, he reached out to me and he sent me a video. It may have been 30 minutes long. He just asked me to watch it. And it was like a real mini quick documentary of a fighter in the Chicagoland area. And he wanted to know what I thought. I thought it was cool. It was well done. for me to keep my attention for 30 minutes, it takes a lot, you know? And he's like, well, what do you think? I go, you guys did a great job. He goes, we want to do a documentary on you. And I was like, why? I mean, I'm not that special. I don't think it's that interesting. I go, for me, I feel my life isn't that interesting. He's like, well, just think about it. Let's talk about it. I says, okay, we can think about it. So I drove down to Chicago and I met Dave and his buddy Danny for lunch. And we sat there and we talked. And they pitched to me what they wanted to do. And I agreed. And, you know, part of me was thinking, this will never see the light of day. You know what I mean? Because in wrestling, everybody has great ideas and it might take 5 years. It may never happen. And then I was thinking, man, I go, if we could do something that Cal can have, would be very cool. So I'm thinking the thing they did was 30 minutes. So I'm thinking maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Well, they got so much footage over the last 2.5 years that when they finished it, it was 2 hours and I think 38 seconds long.
Amazing.
And I'm like, that is a long time. And they said there's even more stuff that didn't make the documentary. So part of the deal is that I would have creative control, you know, in the documentary. I never saw it until the night of the premiere. So I'm a little nervous.
What a word.
You know?
What a word.
Yeah. So I knew that I wouldn't be embarrassed by anything. But for me, my journey has had so many amazing people in it. I didn't want anyone to be forgotten, you know? So that was my only concern. And my other concern was I did not want this to come across as a vanity project because that was not what I was signing up for. So, you know, we got there, you know, and over 200 some people showed up, which more than flattered. It was the Fridays. It was the start of Memorial Day weekend. I didn't think I'm like people are going to go on their, you know, the start of their summer vacations, but it was a packed house. It was amazing. There were a lot of laughs that I heard. There were quite a few tears as well, a lot of sniffles, and I was very proud.
You mentioned this, like, you know, being convinced to do this documentary, and you brought up about for Cal. So, you know, obviously we're all itching to see it ourselves. I don't know if we're going to want to in time, but is this one of those things that you can say, you know, when you go on and it's the legacy that you can give to Cal and say, look, this is who I am, who is a part of you, Cal, and this is something he can have for the rest of your life?
Absolutely. I mean, for him, it just shows that as long as I've been doing this for 27 years, okay, he's going to be 23 on June 28th.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only been doing this for 4 years without him, you know.
Right.
So it's also his story as well. I mean, he's been in the back seat of a lot of car rides, airport runs, chasing around, you know what I mean? And you know, for him, I mean, I think that's why he's as well behaved and well mannered as he is. It's because he has grown up in this.
I think he knows his daddy will whip his ass.
You know, honestly, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've had to raise my voice to him.
I was going to ask that. So let me ask you a question. So you guys don't have like he never bucks the system?
No. I mean, I'll have to ask him 4 or 5 or 10 times to do something, you know.
Okay,
but again,
that's normal.
But again, I was the same way. Like I know my mom is smiling, watching me, reminding him to get certain things done. Because I was the exact same way. You know, I always believed if you wait to the last minute, it only takes a minute. You know,
does he keep a clean car? Does he keep a clean room?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you're so fucking lucky. You're so fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers me more than a messy car and a messy room.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, I told him, I said, hey, when you're on the road, get the car washed. Make sure it's clean because you never know who might have to hop in with you sometime.
Yep.
Well,
Mhm.
Well, you said Dave that you allegedly had creative control,
Yes.
but didn't get to see until the finished product with everybody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
So he got
What
work,
was
Jimmy. He got work.
Yeah, yeah. So what was the biggest surprise or the biggest takeaway you had from it? I mean, something that just made you go, "Oh man, I didn't expect that."
Um, it was the things that my peers said about me. You know,
I get it.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And so like a prime example for me is I want to say a couple years ago, I had Rikishi in town for a signing, and Cal was along with me. And Rikishi was just downloading Cal with information, and all these guys are uncles to Cal ultimately. So he's like, Uncle Oos, I really appreciate you telling me this and whatever else. And Rikishi made the comment. He goes, nephew, he said, your dad helped me put food on my family's table. The least I can do is give you that information. And um, as we walked away, like my eyes teared up
Right.
because I knew we were tight. I knew we were boys, we were friends, family, whatever. I didn't know how much that meant to him. And if I'm not on this journey at this point in my life with Cal, I never hear those words.
Yep.
Not that I needed to hear it, but man, it felt good to hear, because, I mean, there's a lot of times throughout this business, you wonder if it's worth it because sometimes we're not always financially ahead as to where we started,
Right.
and there's lots of heartache and frustration and things that go wrong. And these last 5 or 6 years that Cal's been on this journey, I wouldn't change a thing because they always say that in wrestling, you don't really have any true friends. If you can count on one hand 5 people that you can call a friend in wrestling, you're like in the top. There's not many people that can say that. I can say 10. I can use both hands, and forever grateful that for me, I looked at this as a relationship business, not just the pro wrestling business. I know that when Cal goes to TNA, he has a Daniel Spencer or a Tommy Dreamer looking out for him, or Matt and Jeff Hardy. I know if he goes to AEW, he's got Scotty 2 Hotty, Billy Gunn, Dustin Rhodes looking out for him. If he goes to SmackDown, he has Solo and Jacob and Zelina Vega and Shane Helms. If he goes to Raw, he has Abyss and Rockstar Spud. There isn't a locker room he can't walk into where somebody will not come up to him and give him a hug and look out for him.
Right.
And for me, I've made money and I have lost money in the wrestling business, but I've made some amazing friends along the way. Prime example is there's a guy in OVW named Mount Kadim. 6'8", 6'9", right, Daniel?
Yeah.
About 400 pounds.
Former football player.
Yeah, big dude. And Cal was in a program with him. Cal gets a phone call from Kevin Nash. Hey, kid, let me tell you what Sean and I did to have that kind of a match. He got a cheat sheet from Kevin Nash, how to work a big guy. You know what I mean?
Very cool. Very fucking cool.
And like for me, I sit back and like when my mom died, my life changed because I was there when she died. And now everything means a million times more to me. And like, I just look at Cal, we're in the car together. I'm like, how lucky and blessed are we that we have this? I guarantee there's no other kid on the independents that has this. He gets to team with Al Snow as the newest Rockers all across the area. They've won 7 different tag team titles together. Okay?
Phenomenal.
Right?
Al hates it, but we know.
Oh, yeah. But you want to know something? Al loves teaming with Cal because he gets to teach him something.
Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, this documentary, it just shows that these relationships are real. It's not because I'm a promoter that paid them to be my friends, And it's just I love where I'm at in life because I get to see my kid living a dream.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if this was 99, not a chance would I let him do this, you know,
Right.
because the Wild West was insane because I was there
Yes.
for it.
Yeah.
But today, it's weird to say wrestling is a kindler and gentler world. It's more of a business. I now trust the process that he can do this. But yeah, it's just, the fact that I've got to watch the last 27 years. People ask me like, what was it like watching your documentary? It's like watching my funeral.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you mentioned earlier about things. Do you think that if you actually get to see the product all through the process and had somewhat of creative control, and I'm using quotation marks for that, but if you think that if you got to do it, you think that you would have not put certain things in it or would have took it out? Is it better that you did not, see it until you saw it? You know what I mean? Like until the finished product, just to kind of,
there's nothing I would have taken
appreciate it
out.
more, maybe.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Yeah, there's nothing I would have taken out.
Yeah.
I, and it's only because the people that I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot of them that have seen it, they loved it, and some of them are some pretty harsh critics. So,
would you have added anything?
So,
I might have added a little bit more of my immediate family. My dad was very influential.
Yeah.
When I opened up my very first sports memorabilia store when I was 22 years old. And he gave me a check for 20 grand and he said, here you go. And he was a safety net for me. I mean, he made sure if I were to trip, he'd make sure if I were to fall, I wouldn't fall very hard,
Right.
And, so a lot of it talks about my mom because obviously that's the most recent thing. But my dad, he taught me a lot about business and relationships. Right. So if anything, I would have added a little bit more about him.
I want to piggyback off of that because I remember it might have been 2 years ago, the weekend we were there when we thought the Netflix was going to film, but it was the weekend you had Braun Strowman doing the two shows in July. Do you remember? And your dad, we were all sitting in the living room, and your dad was sitting there talking. It may have been after that, but it was around that time, and we're sitting there talking. And your dad gave so much knowledge to me. Like we were talking about, I was doing different things in business at that time. I was in mortgages and different stuff like that, and he was just giving me so much knowledge that was amazing, and just like what to do and how to put money here and be smart about this. And he was also like, talk to Dave, he'll help you too, and just. But it was amazing. Like he was willing to just sit there and just give that knowledge, like that. It's stuff that you don't get from different people. So I piggyback. Your dad loves to share the knowledge and the wealth with people and make sure everybody's on the right path and knows what they're doing. Right.
By the way, Daniel, before you answer that, Daniel, you might want to get out of that truck at some point. You're gonna get hemorrhoids, brother. That is a bumpy ass ride you're going on right now.
It might be the driver that I have is making it so bumpy. So
well, tell me to get on the road. Tell me to get on the road.
I bet that driver's a backbreaker, huh?
And here's the thing. Check this out. I just got a notification that the Pacers can't make it to Oklahoma City because of a tornado warning, and we're literally about to drive through Oklahoma City. So just saying.
No.
So.
Dave, I'm sorry. I just couldn't help but watch him go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah. No, my dad, he is, that's who he is. He loves to share knowledge. Because what good is it if you don't share it?
Exactly.
You keep it for yourself and it dies. So,
yeah.
Everybody has to win.
Yeah.
Dave, I want to know this. And you touched on this to a point, but I just want to know what you think of this, because this is like crazy to me, because I would like to have this about me, and I think I do for the most part. I know I have haters. I don't know if you do, but I have haters.
No, I know I do. Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I don't give two fucks about them.
Yeah.
But everyone that I talk to that's not a hater of me, everyone says in this way too, what a great guy. I love that guy. Um, Shelly Martinez just tweeted today, oh my God, I love this man. I'll be listening. We had a lot of interaction with on our Twitter, which you're not on, and I don't blame you for not being. But interaction about even the boys getting on and saying, oh, this could be awesome. Dude, that's basically holding your name in the highest. That has got to be something that you have got to be proud of. Cal's a different story. I'm talking about you as a person. That has got to be cool, man, because if people ask me about you right now that didn't know you and said, I'm supposed to be working for Dave Herro, my first thing would be like, you're getting ready to work for a good motherfucker, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is that's got to be good for you. You have to feel so proud to be, taking your name Herro and held at the highest. And I have never heard a bad word about you. So if you say you have haters, they probably aren't good people.
Well, it's mostly locally.
Jealousy.
Yeah. It's crazy because when Damian Nelson and I did the Pro Wrestling Report, we were just two buddies having a blast, giving our thoughts and opinions on pro wrestling. We weren't a dirt sheet show or anything like that. And now when we go to like a WrestleCon or we go to a Squared Circle Expo, and I'll bump into guys like Sean Ross Sapp and other of these guys that have really taken it to the next level on wrestling news and opinions and whatnot. And they say it's because of you and Damian that I started doing this, that I watched it and I got hooked. So I'm like, it's a huge compliment. And then I'm like, man, are they calling me old at the same time? But it's flattering because, this is a rough business to be in, and it can be as carny and as filthy, but it can also be as beautiful and magical as you want it to be. Absolutely. And just knowing that, I have the respect of so many of my peers and my friends. I'm just lucky and blessed because it is easy to get a bad name in this business rather quickly.
But Dave, I don't think you're lucky. I don't. I think it's deserved. I really do. I think that it's your hard work, your commitment, the passion that you have put into what you want and what you do. And it just shows to me like there's so many people like, man, I'm trying to be nice.
Nah.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to.
You don't have to name names. Just say it.
No, I mean, but there's just so many people that just are so entitled and think that it is what it is. And you know what? Because of the money that's thrown around nowadays, don't actually realize what you are preaching, what Al's talked to me about, what I went through, Jimmy's went through, Daniel's going through. Daniel's driving halfway across the fucking country. All right. Yep. Well, guess what? The guys that don't respect it like we do and don't understand us. And that's why they think these fuckers don't know anything. You know what? We know way more fucking than you do. You may make more money than me, but you ain't got more saved up, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, all I'm saying is this is like you said, it can be a nasty business. It can be. Mm-hmm. It can be a fruitful and wonderful business. And there's no way I could have a show for 3 years without having the respect of the wrestling community and the people I worked with and 100%. Jimmy and Daniel to not build a base of people that we can come on this show every single week. And you, in my opinion, are no more less than anyone that's ever been on this show. And I've had multiple world champions on here in the men's and women's division. I don't feel like this episode is any less because you're not in the WWE per se. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Thank you.
And I mean that. I mean that with all my heart. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see and have saw what you have done. And it's just incredible, dude. I mean, really incredible. And I think that this documentary you deserved. And I really do. I really do, because you're showing the hard part of wrestling that some of these young, I'm trying to be nice, that some of these young entitled people don't get to see because of the money that's flowing around. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Right.
That,
for
ladies and
me,
gentlemen, is how you book yourself at Blizzard Ball this year.
No. Wait a minute. No, it's not.
There you
I've
go.
been trying for about 6 years now, and he just says he can't afford me. That's the answer. I'm like, dude, all right, I got a buddy system here I can work for, but no, Daniel,
The friends and family rate, bro.
there you go. Yes.
He won't book me. He won't book me.
Well, you know what? I'm sure Daniel will be driving across country, so there'll be an opening. This
You'll be hopping with him?
There's a possibility. There's a possibility.
All right, Dave, that's the worst thing you've ever said in your life. Fuck you.
I would have pitched for myself there, Dave, but after last Thursday, my rate went up. So,
I was working on this last Crusher Fest show with another guy, and he was adamant that we raised our ticket prices.
What was his name? I'm sorry.
It was another guy that I was working on a show with.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you named him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And he wanted to raise the ticket prices to a general admission of $20. And I'm like, no. I go, it's $10 in advance or $15 at the door. And he goes, don't you want to make money? And I said, yes, I do. But I also want it to be a good experience for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if we charge $10 in advance, now a family of 4 can come for $40.
Right.
They don't have to pay for parking. And now they have extra money to buy a beer, a hot dog, a slice of pizza, an 8x10, or somebody's t-shirt. Everybody gets a piece of it then.
Right.
And now, again, for me, I want to see more families and kids at my shows and have 400 people there, instead of having 120 and I charge $20 a ticket. Now, Daniel, you were there. That place was packed.
It was packed.
There was no more room for anybody. We were overflowing outside of the tent, and it was amazing. And there were so many kids there having a blast, and families came up to me and said, hey, thank you for making it affordable for us.
I'm glad Daniel knows, Dave. Glad he knows.
So I mean, for me, that's how I look at the wrestling business, that without the fans, we're screwed. And we're fighting for we're fighting for their dollars. So let's make it worth it. Let's make it. I don't do independent wrestling shows. I do pro wrestling events. And that's how I look at it.
And that's the way to look at it.
I love it. Not to get off topic here, but it's a little scary because we could see Daniel over there. Is it getting darker where you are?
It is. Yeah, it's been very dark. Yeah. So.
And you're traveling west, right?
Yep.
Where you're getting into? Oh, never mind. I don't even want to.
We're on Tornado Alley, baby.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh, geez.
Well, Dave, don't worry. Dave will take care of your money if anything happens.
Hey, I thought you retired at the Ric Flair show. I thought you were done.
Well, listen, I only retire when I want to do something for a friend.
Okay. All right.
But I am retired. You're right. And yes, everything's a pain in the ass to do anymore. So you're right.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we had this conversation in Nashville. You said you were done.
Yeah, he says he wants to. He says he wants to go to these shows and whatever, but he really doesn't want to.
I would love to see Brian in Milwaukee when it's 15 below outside at Blizzard.
Oh,
that's the Blizzard Brawl, brother. It's cold.
Hey, Dave, I'm going to tell you right now. I was in Wisconsin with Brock Lesnar. I had the privilege, not of riding with him, and he is a complete redneck. Okay. Complete.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And he was in heaven with all the snow that was there. I was freezing. I had all his ducks, all his heat ducks, me freezing, and he's driving like a maniac, spinning, doing donuts, driving at accessible speeds. And I'm like, dude, get me to my hotel. Like, it was insane. I don't know how y'all live there. I don't. It's just insane to me.
I live indoors that time of year.
I don't know how y'all do it. I
You
don't.
get used to it, Brian.
I'm a wussy. I'm a wussy when it comes to like really, really cold weather and snow and stuff. I can't stand it.
Shocking. I guess you gotta live up north here with Jimmy and myself, and you go outside and you have like 2 feet of snow, and it's like, all right, well, gotta go to work. Let's go.
No, time to shovel. There you go.
As long as y'all are having fun.
Yeah.
So Dave, we when what is the plan currently? I know you had a premiere of the documentary. What's the plan currently to roll it out where it can be seen by the masses?
So right now, on Sunday we have to be in St. Augustine, Florida. They're going to do another showing of it on Sunday, and then I know that it's been submitted to several film festivals, and we should know in I'm guessing the next 10 days or so to 2 weeks to where that's going to wind up, and then ultimately it'll be on a streaming service. I think by the end of the summer.
Please say Netflix. It's the only one I got.
Well, either Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that. I'll be honest, I don't know. I mean, whoever is most interested in it, I guess is where it's going to land.
Well,
I'll be honest. Again, I never thought it would get this far. So right now, I'm just like, wow, this is amazing.
Well, when it ever comes out, I can promise you, I will download whatever that is, and I'll get it, and I'll cancel it. But I'll get it to watch you, buddy. I can tell you that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
He may have to call you to help with the download of the app, but
of course.
No. He'll call me and say, "Hey, how the hell do I do this? Can you help me?"
Well, guys, I can't help it. Okay, I can't help it. What do you want me to do? Jeez. Hey, Dave, let's do this, buddy.
Yes.
I want you to plug all your stuff, anything for Cal too, as well, which you probably would have done without me telling you. But it's the portion of our show that we all hate, but we know your time is valuable, and now you're a movie star as well. So get all your shit in, brother.
Well, on Instagram, it is the David Herro. It's Herro. It's not one, it's 2 R's. Twitter or X, it's at David Herro. There's no the. For Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, everything is Blizzard Brawl. The website's blizzardbrawl.com. Twitter and Instagram are both Blizzard Brawl. And then, of course, for Cal, it is at the Cal Herro on everything. So catch Cal on OVW this Thursday. And then Friday, he's in Mobile. On Sunday, we'll be in St. Augustine for River City. And then we'll be back in Louisville for shows on Wednesday, Thursday. I believe he has SmackDown on Friday in Lexington. Pay-per-view a week from Saturday in OVW. And then he'll be back up in Milwaukee on Sunday for a show. So, like, he has about, I think, 8 events in the next 14 days he'll be at.
Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to be making towns. I'll be on the road with him. And we're going to get some good windshield time together for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That should be fun.
Yeah. It'll be highly entertaining because he went to Vegas for the first time for WrestleMania.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was fantastic to watch. A buddy of mine, Sean Jacoby, he does a bunch of autograph signings out in California, invited us to the WrestleMania after party.
Oh,
It was hosted by Gronk and Flo Rida and Flava Flav, and Strowman was there and a bunch of the others. And Cal was feeling it on that Monday morning. So
you said Flo Rida, so ghetto. I like it.
Flo Rida. Well, I want to make sure it's pronounced right, you know? So, yeah, but it was a blast watching him navigate in Vegas. That was highly entertaining for me as well. Because I've been there multiple times, and I know how it ends. It never ends well.
No.
So, no. So yeah, so it was great, and yeah, so we'll just be we'll be on the road starting Thursday through Sunday, June 15th.
Wow, good deal,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, Dave, thank you so much, buddy. We really do appreciate your time. You know, we all love you here.
Yes.
And really, I was really so stoked about this show. I really was. You could tell the guy. I said it to them at the beginning of the show. You bring smiles to my face for some reason. I don't know what it is. You and your son. it's just always a pleasure chatting with you. So
I appreciate it.
thank you so much, boys. If y'all want to say anything,
You
go
bet.
ahead.
Nah, nothing more to add except Dave. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. It's just, you talk about it. I know it's a cliche. You say one of the good ones, but you truly are one of the good ones, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining.
I
us.
appreciate that. You guys, fantastic and great, and flattered you guys wanted me to come on the show. So it means a lot.
Hey, we maybe want you on again.
Even better. You know, you know what we can do it. We can do it the week after Blizzard Brawl when you thaw out. How does
Oh,
that
when
there you go.
You mean when I'm not there? Cool, that's cool. Talk all about it.
Yeah, he'll get hot because it's be so cold outside. He'd be trying to light that cigarette and it won't go on. That lighter
Yeah.
just
The lighter won't work when it's that cold. So.
no.
Jeez, I don't understand. But anyway, all right.
It's science, Brian. It's science.
Okay, I don't know science either.
Yeah, so awesome. But
Thanks, Dave.
Thank
All right,
you so
guys.
much,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
You bet.